This is section 11.2, permutations. So we are still heading towards solving probabilities, and we are still working towards learning how to count how many different ways a particular event can happen. Now, suppose we have 5 singers and they are to perform on a weekend evening in a nightclub, and we're asked how many different ways are there to schedule their appearances. Okay, so I have 5 singers, I have 5 slots for them to perform in. From the first slot, I can choose from 5 people to go first. Now for the second slot, I've already chosen 1, so I have 4 left. 4 people now that I can put here. Here I have 3 people left. Here I have 2 people to choose from. And for this last spot, I have no one left. So what we have here is we have to choose from 5 here, 4 here, 3 here, 2 here, 1 here. So applying the fundamental counting principle, the number of ways we can do this is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And if you multiply that out, you get 120. There are 120 different ways that we could order those 5 singers and have them perform. Now, this particular kind of ordered arrangement is called a permutation. Specifically, a permutation is an ordered arrangement of items that occurs when no item is used more than once, and the order of the arrangement makes a difference. Sometimes, we're going to be trying to find out the number of ways something can happen, and that the order that they happen in won't matter at all. That's the next section. But when order does matter, it is a permutation. Okay? In how many different ways can a police department arrange 8 suspects in a police lineup if each lineup contains all 8 people? Well, this is essentially the same kind of problem I have here. It's just instead of rearranging 5 people, I now need to do 8. So how many people can line up first? 8. How many can line up second after I've filled the first spot? 7. And then I have 6 to choose from, and then 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. So you multiply this whole thing out, and you get 40,320. There are more than 40,000 different ways that those 8 people can be arranged for a lineup. Okay. A camp counselor and 6 campers are to be seated along a picnic bench. In how many different ways can this be done if the counselor must be seated in the middle, and a camper who has a tendency to engage in food fights must sit to the counselor's immediate left? Okay, so we have the counselor and 6 campers. So that's 7 people we need to sit on that bench. The counselor needs to sit in the middle. We have no choice about that. And then the food fighty person sits to the person's left. It doesn't really matter what you consider the person's left. I'm assuming the counselor's staring at me, but it really makes no difference when it comes to the math. Okay, so we don't need to figure out all the different ways we can place the camp counselor because there's not really a choice here. There's no choice as to who sits here either. Okay, so that leaves us with 5 campers to fill these other spots. Well, I have 5 choices for this one, then 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1. And we multiply all these together, and you get 120. Okay, now you probably noticed that we end up doing this kind of multiplication a lot, where we start off with a large number and then we multiply about everything all the way down to 1. We did it here with the 5, we did it with 8, we did it here with 5. And that is a specific type of notation. It comes up a lot. It's called a factorial. And it's defined like this. If n is a positive integer, the notation n exclamation point, read n factorial, is the product of all positive integers from n down through 1. So if I were looking for 10 factorial, I would do 10 times 9 times 8 times 7, all the way down to times 1. 0 factorial by definition is 1. Okay? So let's just talk about doing some math with these before we start talking about the applications. Now, your calculators can do these. If you have either of these two calculators, all of our probability buttons on this calculator is right here under PRB. You'll hit that, and then you'll have the options for the things we're going to be using. On this calculator, it's right here. So if I want the exclamation point, I hit that. If I want to hit it again, it'll give me that one. Just keep hitting it, and it'll toggle through all of them. Okay. Now, my batteries are dead for this, but if you're looking for all your probability buttons, you'll need to hit Math, and you'll scroll over to the far right to where you have PRB, and you'll find everything you need under that. Okay. Let's first, we can do it all on our calculator, but there's some things, some tricks here that you really want to know how to do by hand. Okay. So 12 factorial means 12 times 11 times 10, so on, all the way down. 10 factorial is 10 times 9, and so on. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start listing things to multiply out. And the thing is, we can stop at any point and just say, and so on. So I can do 12 times 11 times 10, and so on. I can stop at any point I want to and just say, and so on. Now I'll leave here 10 factorial. I do not need to multiply all of these out to know that those are going to cancel. So what I have here is 12 times 11, which is 132. Now, if you want to enter this into your calculator, 12 factorial over 10 factorial does give me 132. Okay, so let's do 31 factorial over 28 factorial. So this would be 31 times 30 times 29 times, I'm going to stop at 28 because that's what's in the bottom, and just add that factorial, so and so on. And then you have 28 factorial. This and this is going to cancel out. Basically, if you want to list them all out and then cancel all the 28s and cancel all the 27s, so on and so forth, you can do that. I don't recommend it, but it'll work. All I need to do is 31 times 30 times 29. $26,970. Double checking myself here, and I do have it right. Okay, so let's try this. First, I'm going to simplify inside the parentheses so that I have 17 factorial over 17 minus 3 would be 14 factorial. So this is 17 times 16 times 15 times 14, and so on, over 14 factorial. Cancel, cancel. 17 times 16 times 15 would be 4,080.